All right, what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? This is James Anderson from the Millionaire Society, and I wanted to kind of come to you guys and make sure I can give you guys some value with regards to our Tuesday training. Now, it is February 13th, 2018, and obviously, if you know that you're in the Metro Detroit area or if you've seen in the Millionaire Society, I'm actually going to be doing a presentation this evening, so I'm not going to be able to do the live webinar, but what I am going to do is I'm going to do a training right here. We're going to actually pre-record this, something a little bit differently, but we're pre-record this. You guys will get the training, and then we'll be able to have a follow-up session on any type of questions, comments, concerns that you might actually have. And this training is going to go live in the Millionaire Society. So all you got to do is I'm going to have a post there talking about the training. It's going to have a link over to YouTube where you can watch the training, and then of course you'll be able to get all your value that you absolutely need. So let's go ahead and jump into it, and today's training is going to be about Pique and Pass, and I want to make sure that you guys are armed up with the confidence that a lot of people stated that they needed help with, okay? So I want to give you the confidence of how you can easily build your business and how you can use different power phrases to actually really become postured in this business. See, the one thing that can absolutely have you fail in the business is if you struggle with confidence. And really, most people are not confident because they don't feel as though they know enough information, or they feel like they're going to mess up, or they're afraid of rejection. So we're going to squash all that tonight. We're going to walk through the process, the turnkey process of Pique and Pass. And of course, I love to kind of show you guys through the back office how I get to this information, so that way that when you're time to pull it up and you want to look at it on your own time, you know exactly where you're at. So you can see right now I'm logged into my back office here, the Business Management Center, so you can actually go ahead and follow along. So right then and there, I want to go right to my Document Center. Now inside of my Document Center, you guys know all of our documents in there. That's where we train from. That's where we like to have our information come from because everybody has access to it, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and down to the training manual. And here's the thing, guys, because you can download the complete training manual. If you have not done that yet, make sure you download that and have a safe copy. But since it's a training class and training purposes, I'm just going to go to document 804, which is generating business income, and that's where I'm going to be training from today. So generating business income, okay? I love this section because it gives you everything that you need to be successful in your myEcon business, and it's really proven strategies that have worked time and time again. And if you want to be successful in this business, I want everybody to go through and read this section. It's only 28 pages. It's not that long, but learn your business. And to start off with the introduction, okay, myEcon is grounded in the foundation of helping associates, and you guys know what we're trying to do. We're trying to get people to personal financial success, and personal financial success is simply generating enough cash flow during your working years to support your lifestyle and simultaneously invest enough money in the future, so that way you can have your retirement set up when you're in your non-working years. And remember, retirement is not an age, it's just when you actually have enough money. So you got to get that adequate cash flow to have that thing going, and one of the greatest ways to bring in extra cash flow to put towards your financial plan is, of course, building a business, and income shifting via business income is a phenomenal way to do it. So now, it talks a little bit about the products and services we have, our flagship product, everything that we have here. We're not going to cover any of that in this training. We want to go right to the Pique and Pass method and focus on invitations today, power phrases, and hopefully I can give you some power phrases of what you need to do in order to be successful in your business. So I'm going to jump right into the content of what we want to cover. And guys, one thing that we've talked about a lot is we're very turnkey based in what we're doing. We're very straightforward, we're very transparent, and we like to run our business turnkey because that way it's actually duplicatable, and individuals can always join our business and they can get started and they don't have to create the process flow. They don't have to create the way that things are going to need to be done. They don't have to start from scratch and kind of conceptualize every single step of the way. So we give them 4 steps to the turnkey business building system. Now, guys, if you know the first step one have to be that you have individuals to talk to, which is a prospect, okay? Now, if you're just joining the business, or if you're new, or if you have not done this yet, you want to go ahead and make you a list of 30 people that you can call right now, names and phone numbers that you can call, that you can potentially reach out to. You're not going to call them yourself. You're going to work through this Pique and Pass process, but you at least want to gather the prospects and have at least 30 of those down on a list. And that number is very important. At least 30. That's the minimum, okay? Most people that join my team personally, that work with me personally, that I personally sponsor, you got to make 50 if you want to work with me. You have to make 50. 30 is kind of the minimum, but let's stretch it a little bit. It's 2018. Let's up it a little bit. You probably got several hundred friends that you probably interact with and know personally just on your Facebook page. Go through your contacts in your phone. I guarantee you got more than a couple hundred people in your phone if you had a cell phone for the last several years. So that's very important. But step 2 is the process we call Pique and Pass, and that's what we're going to focus on in this training today, the Pique and Pass process. But just to kind of hit it really quickly, Pique and Pass process is basically this. You want to pique somebody's interest and you want to pass them along to the information, the expert, or presentations usually in that regard. So that leads to step 3, which is where you can present and close. We'll cover that in another training there, but you can have an in-home business opportunity meeting. You can have conference calls. You can have live webinars. You can have a one-on-one business opportunity meeting. You can have a public group business opportunity meeting, which is something that we're doing today, which is why I have to actually record this training and pre-record it, because I'm actually going to be doing a public BPM later on here. Over here, I'm going to be doing a presentation at the DoubleTree in Dearborn today. So if you got people, side note, if you got people in the Metro Detroit area, you're watching this training here, and just understand that we do 2 trainings a month, so you can always plug them in. I'll be working with them, so they can always get great training. You can get people, even if you're not in the Metro Detroit area, you can have individuals come work with the Millionaire Society. But of course, you can do private webinars. You guys are familiar with that, and then 3-way conference calls, which is awesome. That's a primary way to get people to the information. And then of course, you have a new MD that come in, and then you want to go to step 4, which is plug and promote. So you'll start plugging them into the training and also promoting the trainings, how important it is to come to the trainings, and of course promoting out EVPs. Once you get your new MD, you take them through the quick start orientation, which you guys are familiar with that, and then you step through the process again. But we're going to talk about step 2 because we did training on quick start orientation. We've talked about prospecting, so now let's talk about Pique and Pass and go to step 2. So right here, Pique and Pass is a technique used to create interest or curiosity about myEcon, its strategies, the company, the products, the services, something that's going to get somebody's interest peaked is exactly what it is. And then once you created that curiosity, once you created that interest, you have a premier time to invite that prospect to a business opportunity, meeting, presentation, webinar, 38kchallenge.com, but you want them to hear an actual presentation. Now, if you look at this note in the middle, I love this because sometimes we do steps 1 and 2 in sequence in the same 5 minutes. So you might have a prospect that you can actually call, and you might pique their interest on that particular call, then pass them along to the information or the expert that's on the line. Say, for instance, your upline EVP that's actually doing a 3-way phone call with you. But at other times, you might get a prospect, and you might have to wait several hours or days before you Pique and Pass that prospect. So here's an example. If I'm actually out and about at the grocery store and I prospect somebody, well, obviously I'm not going to, do everything right there. I'm trying to grab my food, and I got to get out of here because my wife's cooking, and she need, she need what she needs so she can finish dinner. So I might grab a prospect, and I might say, hey, what I'm going to do is I'll contact with you, in a day or so. We'll kind of follow up, and then we'll go from there. And then when I reach out to that individual the day or so later, I'm going to also repeat their interest. I'm going to say, hey, Bill, we met over at the grocery store. We were talking about money, and you mentioned how you actually wanted to get out of debt. Well, hey, let me ask you this question. If I can show you a system that can help you pay your car note off in half the time, would you be interested in hearing that information? See, I just piqued this interest because he was a person that, in that case, we talked about debt. We talked about, how much bills are. And I automatically gave him something that piqued this curiosity because I said, hey, if I could show you a system that could really help you pay your car note off in half the time, would you be interested in looking at it? See, that's just a very simple power phrase statement if you listen to the individuals, okay? If you listen to what the individuals are saying. Now, here's a pro tip for you guys here that on this Pique and Pass tip. You want to make sure when you're prospecting people, you're gathering information along as well. You're gathering information in order to pique their interest. See, the worst thing that you can do is prospect somebody and not have the information for them. For example, I don't have any children, right? So if somebody prospect me and then they try to pique my interest by saying, well, hey, you can pay your children a wage, well, I'm going to say, well, what good does that do me? Because I don't have any children right now. So you want to make sure that you use the form method, and you can go through and follow that back up on your own time, but look up form. Form is family, occupation, recreation, or message, or money, and you guys can look that up. But you want to make sure you have some information. So if I'm talking to a person, if we're talking about money, I'm going to talk about generating business income. If I talk to a person about debt, or they talk about bills, I'm going to talk about, well, how would you like to get out of debt? A huge one that people talk about is student loans. Well, how would you like to, have the government pay your student loans? See what I'm doing here? I want to make sure I get that information because I want to be able to properly pique their interest of what they're interested in and what they want value on to get the curiosity, okay? So we're going to kind of walk through it, and we're going to talk through it as far as what we have going on. So steps 1 and 2, like I say, most of the time we do it together. We're going to focus on the Pique and Pass, but I at least want you guys to understand where we're going. Step 1 and 2, you have the prospect type. One thing that I've already mentioned, guys, if you're a new associate, you want to go ahead and get that list made up. Listen, go ahead and get it done. Bite the bullet. Let's go ahead and get it done. Let's stop playing around. Get your list made, because you're going to need to do a couple things. Number 1, we're going to work to get you promoted. But number 2, we got to get you out here in the field, get some training underneath your belt, and you got to see how to work this business. Of course, you can prospect the second way as you start getting through your list. You're going through your new associate, your new base shops associate list, your own personal list. You still got to go out and do some out and about prospecting. We actually have a campaign going right now to get 1 person a day. So get 1 person a day to see some information. So every day you should be getting a prospect, okay? So that's where the out and about prospecting comes from, and that's tied into the business card prospecting and, of course, the brochure prospecting if you have materials with you. But now, let's go ahead and scroll down here, and let's look at some of these scripts here to pique a prospect's interest, okay? So you obviously know that you need a prospect to talk to, but when you contact those people, we want to focus in on something called power phrases. And what power phrases do is actually grab somebody's attention and want them to have more information, okay? So let me give you an example of what a simple power phrase could be. If I have an individual that talk about generating business income, or if I have let's say we won't even go that technical, right? We'll make it very simple. I have a person that I met that talk about, how expensive her, daycare is for her children. All right, so she spends money every single month on daycare, and it's draining her. Okay, she's like, man, these kids are killing me. They always have a lot of daycare. I always have a lot of daycare bills. Here's a simple power phrase that might be, well, hey, I understand you got a lot of daycare. Have you ever heard of a concept called income shifting? See, I'm piquing curiosity. No, what's income shifting? Well, income shifting is where people bring in cash flow 5 different ways, and then that could be extra money that you use in your daycare. See, I'm piquing curiosity. I'm giving them a power phrase. Have you ever heard of the cash flow transformation? Have you ever heard of the Millionaire Society? Have you ever heard of minimizing your taxes? Have you ever heard of the government actually paying your bills? See, those are straightforward power phrases. Now, the one great thing that we have about our business is we have this concept called income shifting. That's huge because most people, 99% of the time, have no idea on what income shifting is. So it's automatically going to pique curiosity. So you might ask somebody, have you ever heard of income shifting? And most people are going to be like, no, what's income shifting? Curiosity piqued. And then you just give them some value, give them some phrases, give them a little bit of taste, give them a little sizzle, not the steak. Give them a little sizzle. See, here's another pro tip. So many times people struggle with this process because they're actually giving out too much information. They're giving out too much information. They're getting diarrhea to mouth, and they're just talking too much. Guys, just be quiet. Just be quiet. Less is more. If you ever heard of the KISS method, keep it simple, stupid. And make sure that you just calm down. We get too excited. Bring it on back in, and I guarantee you can be successful. So let's look at the sample scripts. And guys, you want to practice this because a lot of people, they say, well, James, I don't have the flow like you. Well, did you read the scripts hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times like I did? I will constantly repeat these scripts over and over and over again right from the training manual. Right from the training manual. So here, let's look at these examples. So A says, hey, James, this is James. James, I say, hey, Kevin, this is James. Hey, man, how's everything going? I just wanted to give you a quick call because I'm calling because I recently got involved with an organization that shows people how to utilize a concept referred to as income shifting. Curiosity piqued because most people don't want income shifting. Now they're tuned in. Listen, it's been putting some serious cash flow in people's pockets. Have you ever heard of it? Now I'm reaffirming that curiosity. So I said income shifting, their ears probably kind of perked up. Then I said, have you ever heard of it? WFA means wait for answer. That means be quiet. They're going to say no. 9 out of 10, they'll say no. And regardless of what they say, ladies and gentlemen, regardless of what they say, acknowledge the prospect by saying that's great, that's fine, I understand, cool. I say cool all the time. I'm like, cool, that's what's up. No problem. You know, you have it for what your actual situation is, but always acknowledge them. Don't say, well, that's dumb, or you don't know about it. Man, come on, dude. Like, you don't want to be that person. You want to be reassuring because they're not going to know. You're going to say, have you ever heard of it? You know, I'm just like, well, that's great. That's awesome. Listen, no problem. Because there was at one point in time where you didn't know what income shifting was. So since, you know, and I'm pretty sure the person didn't turn you off by talking about how ignorant you was or how you didn't know it or how, you know, y'all get where I'm going with it. So I'll say, well, hey, have you ever heard of it? And they say, they're going to say no. I'll say, well, that's fine. Listen. And then I might invite them to listen to a business overview. Or better yet, I'm going to have it set up to where I do a 3-way phone call. Okay? I'm going to do a 3-way phone call. See, if I pique somebody's interest, I can pass them along to the expert right then and there. See, here's what you want to do. If you look at B, right, so we pique the person's interest, okay? So we look at B, we can say, hey, Kevin, that's fine. You know, I also have a great short video recording that I would love for you to hear, and give me your opinion. Let's see, the audio number, web link, etc., etc., etc. And you can say, I'll call you back in a few minutes. You know, it does not matter what you're going to do at that particular point. The key thing is that you have to move them somewhere. You have to pique their interest, get the curiosity, and then move them to pass them along to the informational expert. Guys, the best way to do this is with a 3-way phone call. And the reason why I say that is because you can pass them along to everybody who's knowledgeable and can answer all their questions. Very, very simple. So what I might say in this situation, this is what we personally like to run in the Millionaire Society, and what's a great task has been helping out. We'll say, hey, Kevin, this is James, man. How's it going? Listen, I'm calling because I recently got involved with an organization that shows people how to use the concept referred to as income shifting. Listen, which has seriously been putting some great cash in people's pockets. Have you ever heard of it? Kevin will say no. Then I'm going to say, well, that's fine, Kevin. Hey, everything is great. You know, I actually have one of my business partners, Mr. John Pettifordale, on the line. This guy retired at 34 years old. See, let me, editor's note. I'm actually starting to edify the actual upline EVP that's on the phone with me. All right, back to the schedule. So I say, well, I got Mr. John Pettifordale on the line. This guy has been successful. He's retired at 34 years old. He's teaching me how I'm going to be retired well before my 40s. And I just want you to kind of hear what he has to say and give me your opinion. Would that work out? Most of the time, they're going to be like, yeah. And I'm going to be like, well, hey, I actually got John on the line right now. John, are you there? I have successfully passed them over to John. Now it's up to John's responsibility as the upline EVP, as the experienced person, to take them through and get them to where they need to be, whether that be the online meeting, whether that be the webinar, whether that be a call, whether that be doing a one-on-one presentation, group presentation, you know, getting them over the 38K challenge. We have to do that, okay? Because that's extremely important with what we have going on. Now, ladies and gentlemen, that's the technical side of things, you know, as far as what you want to do. It's just remember in your head, I want to pique somebody's interest. I want to pique their interest with something that's relevant to them. You know, so if somebody is complaining about their car note being extremely high, I'm immediately going to say, hey, have you ever heard of income shifting? Listen, let's put some serious cash flow in people's pockets, and people are getting debt-free on their car notes in half the time. See, piquing their interest, putting it into something that they can provide value. Now, even if you're not there, even if you're not that trained up or that postured yet, just stick with these simple things. Income shifting, which has been putting some serious cash flow in people's pockets. Have you ever heard of it? Keep it very simple. I want you guys to know this like the back of your head. I recently got involved with an organization that shows people a concept called income shifting. It has been putting some serious cash flow in people's pockets. Have you ever heard of it? That's it. If you get that down right there, I guarantee you're going to see some great results in your business. I mean, that's not mixing it up. That's straight from the training manual. That's for the longest time. That's all I used to say. Hey, I recently got involved with the organization that teach people a concept called income shifting. Listen, it's been putting some serious cash flow in people's pockets and mine. Have you ever heard of it? That used to be my exact saying that I said, and I still, come to think about it, I got my one yesterday. I actually said that because I was just quick, kind of driving in the car, didn't have much information, got the number, just said, hey, I'll give him a call once I hop in the car. Called him up in the car, I literally said the same thing. I was like, hey, man, I actually got involved with the organization and showing people how to use a concept called income shifting. It's been putting some serious cash flow in people's pockets, been blessing my family. Have you ever heard of it before? That's literally, that's exactly what I said. Very, very simple, because I didn't have much information, on the prospect. I just kind of had a name and a number to talk to. And he's actually confirmed to come to our presentation tonight. So, boom, there you go. Anyway, let's talk about some different ways. I'm going to give you guys some straightforward actual power phrases that you can use that will give you more posture, is going to give you more confidence. Yes, this is something outside of the training manual, so you can zero in on what I'm actually saying in this meeting itself. But it's going to be it's going to be something that you can use and go out with it. Because I got to keep this training actually short tonight, because I don't want to cover too much information because we're not live. So I want to make sure that you guys have the opportunity to, if you got a bunch of questions, I don't want to have a bunch of information and you can't ask the question. So, but I still want to give you some value. So first of all, let's switch this off right here, and then we're going to be rocking and rolling here. So you guys basically should just see me now in the screen, which is awesome. I love technology, right? But let's talk about it really quickly and some of the things that can give you confidence, okay, with as far as your power phrases, all right? So one power phrase that I love and I use all the time, income shifting, putting serious cash flow in people's pockets. Have you ever heard of it, all right? Also tell people this is Mr. Robert Webster's actual power phrase that I use sometimes too. He say, how would you like to give yourself a pay raise on your job? People say, well, how do you do that? You see where I'm going with it? You pique their interest. Well, yeah, I mean, we use a concept called income shifting. It's been putting some serious cash in people's pockets. Have you ever heard of it? No. Then you can pass them along. One great thing that Mr. John Pettifordell is great for, and this is his power phrase, and it's a huge power phrase. He basically says that, I show people how they can actually increase their cash flow by $200 to $1,000 a month and take that money and drop it down on credit cards, student loans, auto loans, and mortgages and get debt free on the government's dime. That's his power phrase. See, everybody's got their own kind of power phrases they kind of go to, but I'm giving you, all kind of their trade secrets because I want you guys to use them, and you can actually have that kind of going on. I actually, my own personal power phrase that I use outside of just the standard one is I tell people that I always talk about retirement. You know what I'm saying? Like one of the things that I love, like, how would you like to retire 20 years earlier? What? Retire 20 years earlier? Yeah. Then I just go through, we use a concept called income shifting. My actual mentor, he actually retired at 34 years old. I'm 32 right now. I'm planning to be done at 34 as well. You might use something like that. You also might use something like this, like how would you like the government to pay for your lifestyle, right? How would you like the government to pay for your lifestyle? How would you like the government to pay your bills? How would you like the government to cover the cost of your daycare? All those are power phrases that you can give to a person and pique their interest. It's really, literally our business can fit any scenario. We just have to be confident enough to actually go out there and get it done. That's the key thing, ladies and gentlemen. And I want everybody to really focus in on that, Because one of the things, and I take full responsibility for this, is that individuals on John's, a couple weeks ago, he put up a poll, and one of the biggest things that people were having feedback on was the lack of confidence or not having confidence. So that's why we're doing these trainings. That's why we're putting on these calls. That's why we're ramping up the training. We're ramping up the resources so you guys can actually be confident in what's going on. So that's why we're doing that. And these power phrases, if you're confident in what your product or service can offer to an individual, then it's very easy to be confident. See, me, I walk around like anybody can benefit from myEcon if you want to benefit from it. And I don't care if you don't see value in it or not. I'm still going to stay confident. I'm so confident because I've cash flowed over $250,000 with the system. Nobody can tell me anything wrong about what we do in myEcon, or what we do with income shifting, or what we do with our 5 cash flow streams, or how we build our business. Nobody can tell me anything to disrupt my confidence, because I started off with those power phrases, because I went out in the marketplace and I delivered results to not only myself but my teammates. See, because I went out and I've trained and I've changed my life financially, I am confident in what I'm doing in myEcon. But it all starts with the belief that your actual product and service can get some things done. And guys, one of the reasons why people don't have belief is because they're not having success in their business. And the reason why people don't have success in their business is one of two things. Either they're doing the wrong thing too many times, or they're not doing the right thing enough times. They're doing the wrong thing too much and not doing the right thing enough, right? So focus on these power phrases. Practice them. Let them zoom out. Like, you should become so sweet with your power phrases that when you hear something else that somebody else say that's kind of sweet, you'll be like, oh, I'm getting that. Like, we joke back and forth, like, I'm taking that one, I'm using that one, you know. And you can start developing, but start with the easiest one first. It's right there in the training manual. You know, have you ever heard of income shifting? It's been putting some serious cash flow in people's pockets. Have you ever heard of it? I recently got involved with the organization. Not I joined this little business. That's not a power phrase. You come to a person like me, Mr. John Pettifordale, I mean, he did my initial presentation. Boy, was that crazy. If you come to a person like me that's really overly confident in most things anyway, but if you come to me talking about I just joined this little business, I'm gonna be like, get on my face. If you come to me and say, well, I started this little thing on the side, I'm like, well, what do you want? Why are you talking to me? Like, I'm not impressed by that. But when I hear that I recently got involved with the organization, mean that it's quick. We just got started. Like, it's new, it's fresh, it's huge, it's an organization. I recently got involved with an organization that shows people how to use a concept known as income shifting. Pause for a second. And it's really been putting a lot of cash flow into people's pockets. Have you ever heard of it? See, that's a power phrase right there. So you want to practice that. You want to bring that into what you have going on. And then, of course, the technical aspect, doing it with a 3-way phone call, passing that person to a webinar, BPM, conference call, all that stuff. And we're going to cover that. We're going to talk about different ways of that in subsequent trainings. But, guys, we can't go there until you understand how to pique somebody's interest, okay? So start focusing on that. Think about what you will want to hear. Think about what excites you about myEcon. And I challenge you guys to write that down. What excites you about myEcon? What excites me the most is being able to retire, 30 years on average earlier than what most people are. Building an investment account, building an organization, building residual and passive income every single month, building leverage income, being able to be out the country and still make thousands of dollars. That stuff right there excites me. So you, obviously, if it excites you, there got to be somebody else out there great like you that can be excited for it as well. All right? So just want to kind of hit that really quickly, guys, give you guys some training. Like I said, I don't want to go into a lot of the technicals because I'm not going to be here live to actually answer the questions, but I still wanted to give you guys some value. So it's February 13th. This has been not a live training, but I guess a pre-recorded webinar training for the Millionaire Society. So you'll see it go live. It'll be live. You guys will have it on YouTube. Of course, it'll be archived. And, of course, you always get access to it. You can rewind, flip it, listen to it again, write down. And then, of course, we're going to have a follow-up session. So I would say for our Sunday call, be prepared to ask some questions from this. And then, of course, you guys can always post your questions inside of the Millionaire Society Facebook page. That's what that resource is there for. If you have questions, post it out there, because everybody's not in the messenger groups for your particular teams, which is nothing wrong with the messenger groups. You know, I try to get in there and check them and ask questions, but there could be other people that have great answers that maybe not in the group, but they are in the overall Facebook group. We got over 2,500 people, so ask those questions, tag people, do what you have to do inside of there. That's what that resource is there for. And guys, I look forward to seeing you guys on the top, hearing your questions, and then of course we'll be back next week with a fresh training, and then we'll go on to the next subsequent trainings that we need to do to build up you guys' confidence, to give you everything that you need. So my name is James E. Anderson. Hey, I appreciate everybody kind of hanging out, watching this video. Hope you got some value out of it. You know, it'll be archived, and guys, I will holler at you on the next time. Everybody have a great day, and of course, crush it.